Welcome, North Navy. Here we go. 4 days after Hurricane Debby passed through the area, things got pretty bad up in Richmond Hill, Georgia today. Now, Richmond Hill is just south of Savannah. It's about an hour north of St. Simon's. But I'd heard that they had closed U.S. Highway 17 in this area, so I went up today to take the drone and take a look. And this is what we found. Mainly this subdivision here called Richmond Place. And this is not far off of Interstate I-95 in this area. The water was rising as we got here. And there was an incredible outpouring from people trying to protect their property and to also evacuate people from residents from out of this area. This is in Bryan County, and the Bryan County Emergency Services, the fire department, emergency management, the police department there in Richmond Hill, as well as the sheriff's department, multi-agencies responding to help out here. A call went out for assistance, and a lot of flat-bottom boats showed up, and we saw a lot of boats moving sandbags into this area and pulling residents out. Some of this area had started to get pretty deep, where it became very difficult to get vehicles in, and so they had to bring in the boats. Fort Stewart, the Army base, is not far away from Richmond Hill. They responded over with some taller vehicles as well to help out as we were preparing to depart. But we did see some services from the military that were showing up to assist. This was a pretty large subdivision, and the streets that were in here had completely turned into rivers. Just about everywhere we looked in here, we could see people moving around on boats and kayaks, moving sandbags into residents that were here to try to protect the homes. I hope it was enough. You can see that some of these houses were still pretty far away from the water, but as we did our live stream, we see that the water had come up more threatening to some of these homes, more so than others. And here we could see there was an individual that was pulling in, it looked like a couple canoes that were full of sandbags, trying to head into some property to try to protect it. Now, I did speak to some of the personnel there from emergency services, and I asked them about what it was like, what were conditions like during Debby, during the storm as it passed over, with all that rain that we got while the storm was passing over. And they said it was no flooding like this. Minor flooding like you would expect to get in a big storm, but nothing compared to what was going on with this situation. Now here we are 4 days after this tropical system passed through the area and moved off the coast of Georgia out in the ocean before making landfall again in South Carolina, and then moving up into North Carolina and on north. 4 days after the event, Richmond Hill is having this kind of flooding that is going on. And I say this because there are a lot of areas even north of here that got more rain. And these are real problems that have the potential to manifest after these storms pass by. And here we are again 4 days after the event. And the Ogeechee River here has just become so swollen that has completely left its banks. It has covered up U.S. Highway 17 and now has started into some of these neighborhoods in the Ogeechee River Basin. Tremendous effort going on to protect property and help these people leave the area where they needed to be evacuated if their vehicle couldn't make it through the water. Emergency services were on scene to help those people get to higher ground. This is very rare indeed to see this kind of flooding after a storm in these coastal areas. Usually we see flooding, it's caused by storm surge, and it happens during the height of the storm. It's very rare for us to see it 4 days after the storm's passed by. This group, a lot of people showed up here and were helping with filling sandbags and to help get them loaded up for emergency services to distribute. And many of the people that we talked with said that they did not live in these affected areas, but came out to assist the operation to help their neighbors. Now, they weren't expecting any receding of the water to begin until tomorrow afternoon, after the high tide tomorrow afternoon, and hopefully that will be the beginning of water levels dropping for this area. Schools in a lot of the coastal county areas were supposed to have started this past week, but with Tropical Storm Debby coming through, a lot of those counties were forced to postpone the start of the school year because so many of the roads in these areas are dirt or clay, and once they get saturated, they are pretty much impassable for the school buses, and they can't get the kids into school. So they pushed back the start date for most of the counties here in South Georgia. The flooding is probably going to continue on rising. While we were there, we watched the water rise. We could see it coming up. It was visible rising. And of course, I'm sure that was adding to a lot of the anxiety of the residents of the area. Well, guys, thanks so much for watching this little bit of a update from Hurricane Debby and its effects on the residents here in Richmond Hill in Georgia. I think there's a lot we can take away from this as these storms pass by. A lot of the danger may be coming after it passes. Thanks again for watching, and hey, you guys be safe out there.